seeing something. So, and we have been, he has identified a handful of faculty members from various departments, and to literally frame this whole program and try to come out with a complete process. And as I've said before, I'm Aravind. I'm just coordinating this whole program, and I have with me a bunch of really fantastic people. One is Professor Sarathi from Electrical Engineering, and Professor Shanti Bhattacharya from Electrical Engineering. And we also have Professor P. Anbarasan from Chemistry Department, and he is also here with us today. And with us, we have a fantastic person who is literally managing all of this. Is Harish. He is our person who is a single point of contact at the Office of Global Engagement. We, 6 of us, put together this whole program, the entire process, and what can be the expected outcome, and eventually how we can improve the quality of our research at the end of the day. Okay. So if you have any questions, I'm sure each of us will give you a different kind of perspective about this IIE program.
Yeah. Excuse me, sir. Sorry to interrupt you. Actually, sir, your voice is it is something like echoing. Your voice is, so that's why it's not clear, sir. Your voice. It is kind of echoing your voice. That's why what you are speaking is not clearly audible.
Great. Okay. Harish, could you please also check that's the case with your computer as well?
No, Professor, actually, I can hear you properly. There is a little echo, but it is clear to us, but there is a small
Okay, let me also check with others. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Let me also check.
I think since 2 of your devices are, the mic is on in 2 of your device, I think if you can reduce the volume in one of the device completely, mute it, I think there will be no echo.
Okay, I'm going to just leave from the other one completely. So, and I hope that's going to solve a lot of problems. Thanks for pointing that out at the very beginning. Great. So let me just start off with what is this IIE Travel Award? So essentially, this Travel Award is not going to be just a. So could you hear me properly now? No echo or anything coming up now?
It's fine for me, Professor. I think it's fine.
No, there's a bit of echo, okay, but your voice is clear, sir.
Oh, okay, great. Okay.
There are many. Professor, before we start, I'll just say, guys, if you have any doubts, so please do not interrupt during the discussion. Once the discussion is over, we'll have a separate Q&A session where we can answer all your questions. And even during the meeting or during this presentation, if you have any doubts, please post it in the chat box. I'll be able to read out those questions to Professor once the discussion is over. So please feel free to use the chat options.
Thanks, Harish. So essentially, the IIE Travel Award is not going to be just a conference travel, but it's going to be helpful for you to travel to a partner lab abroad. And this international travel support is going to come through a competitive proposal call. You know, we're going to give a handful of money, that is like 3 lakhs. And already you're expected to couple 1 lakh of your conference travel grant along with this 3 lakh to use for this IIE travel or travel to a partner lab. And the thing is that, so we are going to support for quite a good number of people. And then the highly rated ones will possibly not have to take that 1 lakh conference travel grant also. Essentially, we are planning in such a way that the very highly rated applications, where we will completely cover the entire travel, including like the stay, the flight tickets, their insurance, medical, everything together. Okay, and the travel should be for minimum of 45 days, and there's no relaxation for this. We have to have minimum of 45 days, and you have to stay at least like for 3 months. If anyone wants to stay beyond 3 months, and I think either their host lab or their guide should support them beyond 3 months. Okay. However, I think the travel, the flight ticket, I think the cost that we provide as a part of IIE shall be used even beyond 3 months as well. Okay. And every year we are planning to support somewhere around 100 students. Not necessarily mean we will support 100 students every year. If the number of good students are only 20 people, there will be only 20 grants at the end of the day. So we will support at the max 100 students every year. And in order to, because of this COVID uncertainties, we've also made a plan that we will float this proposal call twice a year. So now it came out in August. So eventually in 6 months' time, we'll have a next proposal call too. Okay, this is just a global summary of this whole proposal. And what is the Travel Award is all about and what we offer. Yeah. So the question is, who can apply for this award? And you might have heard, like, most often undergraduate students typically do travel to stay like for an exchange program. And even at the Office of Global Engagement, we do have exchange programs where you spend time in only a dedicated partner lab whom they have joined a degree program with, or some sort of MOU being signed with. Whereas here, you can go to any lab of your interest. There is no restriction, but then the following conditions apply. You should be a PhD student and working on state-of-the-art and novel research that require interdisciplinary expertise. It's not like you work on a very small problem and you want to travel abroad. That's not going to work out. And if you're working on a really pitching problem, and you're the person who should apply for this grant. And the next criteria is you should have a CGPA greater than 8. That's in your PhD program. Okay, and you should have passed the comprehensive exam. It doesn't matter, even if you want to apply in the first semester, that's all right, but you should make sure that you should have passed the comprehensive exam. And the next condition is that we will not assist you finding your partner lab. If you work on a complementary research or interdisciplinary research, you and your advisor should have identified a partner lab who is ready to host you. And that's how, if you don't have a partner lab support, I think you will not be able to support you through this grant. You will become essentially ineligible. So the next thing is that you should have obtained from your guides. Sometimes you have more than one guide. You should make sure that you would have gotten permission from all of them to apply for this position. Okay, to apply for this award. And what you have to do in order to apply? Very simple. First thing is that, do you want to do state-of-the-art research? As I've said before, if the answer is yes, go and discuss with your advisor and prepare a good proposal. And, there's some noise. Go and prepare a very good proposal. And I'm going to discuss about the proposal in a bit. And then you have to also send the proposal to your host lab and get approval from them. And that approval, not necessarily like it has to be in their letterhead or something. It can be just an email approval from the host lab advisor. That is sufficient for us. We don't need anything else. And then also, after all these things are done, you need to request your advisor to conduct a DC meeting to get the DC chairman's recommendation. And I'll talk about this a bit later, why we need this DC recommendation. And eventually, once you have all this information, you can go to the website, ge.iitm.ac.in/IIE. And even before this, I would recommend you to go to this website. And the website somehow looks like this. You can go and find all the information. And in fact, we will also post the recording of this webinar in that website as well. So it's not that you have to submit only these applications. There are also some standard documents requiring your name and personal details, passport details, and all those things, which also has to be uploaded along with these most important things. Okay. And so let me just quickly go into give you the insight that the website doesn't give you. Okay. The website requests you the following information. First is about the motivation for your travel. The thing is that when you want to travel, you need to really be working on a very interdisciplinary research topic, and that requires very expertise from someone abroad. It can be an experimental expertise, or it can be a theoretic simulation expertise, whatever it is. So the thing is that the objective of your PhD thesis should be grand and novel, and the mediocre problem statements with low risk are typically not encouraged as a part of it. So please remember that if you're a person working on, of course, we assume that all the PhD students at IIT Madras are working on high risk statements, but we want as a team to feel how overwhelmed are you with your PhD, with the objectives of your PhD thesis, and that has to be reflected in this first questionnaire. Okay. The next thing is, you should also make sure that what portion of the project work, that's the thesis, will be done at the host lab. You need to make it very, very clear. So let's say you have a component A and B of your PhD thesis, and let's say the component A might be done at your host lab, that is, in your guide or at lab at IIT Madras, and component B might be carried out at the host lab. Sometimes if the component A might have 2 components within, and then you should clearly state out what is that exact component of the objective that you will be doing at the host lab. Because that's very, very important, because you don't want anyone just to travel just because there is a travel grant, or just because you're already having an existing partnership. We want the truly deserving candidates to apply for this travel grant and utilize the grant to the fullest extent to get the best research outcomes. Okay. Next thing is, it is your duty to convince us to write on what is the complementary research that is going to be done at the host lab. And separately, you need to give what is the component of IITs and what is the IIT Madras research that you're going to carry out at IIT Madras, and what is the component that you're going to carry out at the host lab. And there should be good complementary nature. And it's not that let's say you're working on some research yay, and both the host lab and as well as your lab at IIT Madras has the same expertise. It doesn't make sense to travel. So please make sure that the complementary nature of the project is very, very important, and you have to make sure that the host lab should be able to assist you with that complementary nature. That is really, really important. So essentially, these are the 3 questions that you will have to write under the motivation for the travel in the proposal part. The next thing is details of existing collaboration. Sometimes your advisor or your group or you yourself, applicants, might already have collaboration with someone abroad, where as of now you might be sending samples there to do the testing, and then you will be just getting the results. So you would like to know if you have ongoing collaboration. If there is a collaboration, you need to just give us if there are any outcomes that came out from the collaboration. If you don't have an existing collaboration, and if you want to apply for IAE travel grant with a new partner that you have identified very recently, just because you found this IAE travel option, you should give us a justification on how you found that host institute. Okay, that is, by the way, this existing collaboration may not be used for your evaluation, because even if you have collaboration in the past or not, that's not going to like be a parameter for the evaluation of your application. So this is just for us to know how you identified your partners, research partners abroad. Okay, because this data is very sufficient for us to, like, very important in the long run to see, are you guys or the faculty members encouraging their PhD students to keep applying only to their existing partner labs, or because of this IAE program, are we extending our horizon to new people abroad, and so that we are making a greater impact in terms of research. So we just want to know that information. So we are asking information about this existing collaboration, or have you identified your host lab. Okay, and the final thing about this proposal is the outcome. Please remember, don't say that, like typically I've seen many proposals, typically when we say the outcome, don't say that I'm going to publish a paper. But that's not what we are looking for. Like, you have to clearly say what was the objective of your proposal and exactly how it's going to reflect in the outcome. Like, for example, if you have done research only at IIT Madras, your outcome might be something. Now you're going to go to a host lab, and that host lab, like, you're going to do a complementary research, or you're going to use some advanced facilities, and that is going to eventually end up in bringing out a high quality research outcome. What we are looking for is that you should really write that what is the final outcome you're going to expect, and how the final outcome is going to create an impact. And of course, you can mention a high impact paper, but you should really make sure that if you have not collaborated, or if you don't go to that lab, what will be the range of journals you'll publish the paper at. Whereas when you go to the host lab and do this research and work on a high risk problem, what kind of publication you can expect. So you need to be very quantitative. Don't write qualitative things in the outcome base. And I would just like to also give you a process that is about the basic information of the proposal. And because the proposal is the core of this whole application process. Okay? So remember, you spend good amount of time literally thinking about each and every line and word written in the proposal, or asked in the proposal. So the whole process is going to follow this timeline tentatively. The proposal deadline as of now is end of September, and a committee, as mentioned, committee comprises of 3 people, including Dean, plus Dean and Harish. So eventually we will do the evaluation within the month of October, and we will announce the results in November for this season. And then what we will do is that, depending on the results, because not every proposal, like, you will be traveling, like, every proposal requires different travel timeline. And for example, you may want to travel for 45 days, someone else might want to travel for 6 months. Maybe you might grab the money for 3 months from us, and then maybe the rest 3 months will be supported by the host lab and then your advisor. So we need to understand each and everyone's requirement individually. So Harish and our Office of Global Engagement will consult with you to plan your entire travel during this 2 months. And then the travel will be initiated. Like, remember that travel should be initiated within 10 months from the date of award. And after 10 months, it will essentially become nullified, and the grant won't be available. And The last thing is slightly important. So you need to submit the report after you come back from the international travel. So the report should be submitted within 2 months or before the end of your PhD registration. So you might be aware at the beginning we have opened only for second year to the final year, fourth year. But then recently, because of this COVID thing, I think many people couldn't travel, especially the present fifth year student couldn't travel for the past 1.5 years. That's a pity. So we've also extended that to the fifth year students, provided if their PhD registration will be alive until the end of the travel. If their PhD registration is not going to be alive, you cannot travel. The last date of your PhD registration, date would be essentially the last date of your travel here. Okay. And once you come back, you should submit your report within 2 months. And you are expected to show the outcome. It can be a paper or poster within after you publish the work. It should be the information should be transferred over to us. Imagine if you're a person leaving the group like after 5 years or 5.5 years, whatever it is, you should definitely ask your advisor to submit those information to our office, because that's very important to see how the IIE grant is helping us improving the quality of our research. At the end of the day, that is the overall motivation behind this whole program, and a lot of money we are pumping into this program. Yeah, and also what the kind of plan we have is, if we finish your travel before next year's travel award, by this time, let's say next year in October, we may have OGE symposium, IIE symposium, where all the present year travel awardees, if they have came back from their travel, they'll make a physical poster presentation. And what we want is a lot of people who want to apply for the coming years, they can come and listen to you guys, and you can share your experience during the poster presentation and how this international travel helped you in improving the quality of the research outcome, and how you personally improved as a person, and how the international exposure improved the quality of the research of everything. You're expected to share that with the but this is tentative. We have not planned anything about the symposium yet. We will update you as and when we make some concrete plans regarding that. That's why I kept this whole thing blank. Okay, so now let me go more into the evaluation criteria. I'll spend not more than 5 minutes now, more than 5 minutes from now. So I can first evaluation criteria. The first evaluation criteria is your academic credentials, where your CGPA and your DC recommendations matter. So your CGPA really will be one of the important criteria that helps us make a decision. And then the DC recommendation. What we're expecting from the DC recommendation is the following. Like, for example, a person might be very good at writing the proposal, but we want to know their productivity in the past. For example, if a person applying in the third semester, the DC numbers will have a good knowledge about how a person is, how like the analytical thinking ability, everything. They might have assessed you during a comprehensive exam. And that is one of the primary reasons why we asked the comprehensive examination as one of the eligibility criteria. You should have cleared the comprehensive examination. Only then DC makes a recommendation. Otherwise, DC might not have met you at all, so they cannot make a recommendation, right? And if you're a person at the end of your second year or third year or fourth year, DC might have seen you through your research proposals seminar and many other things. They know the capability of the student. We expect the DC recommendation has to be submitted by the DC chairman, and that confidential recommendation will help decide the academic credentials of the applicant. Okay, and remember, we will not follow up with any of the DC chairman, and it's up to the applicant's responsibility to follow up with the DC chairman to submit all those recommendations. Next thing is proposal. What we will look for as an evaluator. So the grand vision is one thing, and that should end up in high impact paper or a patent or a commercializable outcome. This is what we need to look for. Don't give us like very technical thing. Imagine we three evaluators plus the Dean of Global Engagement and Harish. We may not be able to understand all the technical details. Please make it clear as if you are writing to comment. We should be able to appreciate and understand the expected outcomes. That has to be very, very clear. If you write it too technical, I mean, of course, there should be a technical component, but it should not be too technical with equations and everything, which will essentially make us dump into make the evaluation. Please make it clear that you write it for the evaluators, okay? And please make it very clear that the complementary nature of the work. Don't write that I'll do only A, I'll do B. Like also mention that how this bringing these two complementary expertise will give you the good outcome. Make sure that you do it. And one other thing that I've not talked about so far is quality of the host lab or the institute. The thing is that if you have if you identified some really small institute, we may not be able to evaluate it. Quality of the host lab is very, very important. When we got this, so part of the money for this institute of IIE travel come from the Institute of Eminence grant. Institute of Eminence is tagged to ranking, and that essentially says to us that whomsoever you are collaborating should also either have a good academic profile or the institute should be of reputed standing. So the first thing is that we will be looking for is ranking of the host institute. This is very, very important. So our Office of Global Engagement will look into the department ranking as well as institute ranking. Sometimes, there may be labs, there may be some faculty members, or there may be some research labs, some national labs. They don't probably have a ranking, or some scientists might be residing in some small institutes. In that case, what we will do is we will look into the profile of the scientist. Essentially their H index and everything will be looked into. For example, Helmholtz Zentrum Berlin, they may not come under a ranking. Lawrence Berkeley National Lab, Argonne National Lab, they may not come under any ranking actually as such. But then we will look into at least the location or the host lab. One of these should be really good. That is ultimate criteria, because you cannot go remember that if both of them are good, that's well and good. That's nice. That's really fantastic. But if neither the host lab nor the host institute have a good academic standing, then I think that will be a downside for the application. Please do remember your potential host should have should have an international standing. Okay. And this is how we are going to evaluate your application. We are going to have four criteria. One is academic credentials, and the objectives and outcome of the proposal, complementary nature, and quality of the host lab. So all four evaluators, myself, Professor Anbarasan, Professor Sarathi, and Professor Ashanti Bhattacharya, we will independently evaluate all the applications, and then eventually we will compile the information to make the final decision. So it's not going to be, we are going to be sitting in one place and evaluating all your application in one go after reaching a common consensus. No, we are going to independently evaluate. And sometimes if there is a deviation, for example, if most often what happens is that all the extremely good applications will be rated high by all the evaluators, and so do the lower end ones. In some cases, the intermediate ones will always have this. Two of them might have rated them very well, two of them might have rated them very low. I think this is where I think the committee will sit and discuss the whole proposal. So intermediate ones will have a bit of tough time to make the final recommendations, but we will take care of it. So essentially, the committee will meet and do justice to all the applications. Okay. With that, I would like to stop, and I probably answer some of these questions that you have already posted to Harish or to Professor Raghunathan Rangaswamy. And then some of these questions that you might have already on mind, which you might have probably already put in the chat window. Let me start with the first one. So these are the questions that some of you have already asked. So can we apply for it after finishing 3.5 years of PhD at IIT Madras? And can we apply for, let me hide this right side, sorry. For global labs working on economics from HSS department. Anyone who asked this question, the answer is yes, you can apply after finishing 3.5 years, and departments doesn't matter to us. Wherever it is, you can apply. So there was a question, dear sir, I am in my first semester of PhD program, and am I eligible for coming term? The answer is essentially no. The reason is we said starting from the third semester. However, if the candidate has cleared the comprehensive exam and had some fantastic credentials, we may consider, but most of the criteria of third semester is not going to be relaxed that easily. The answer will be no here. Unless there is a pitching reason and the candidate application is really good and host lab is really good, then we may consider. How much does the selection criteria depend on the host university ranking? As I said, it's going to be 1/4. So let me go back to this thing. It's going. All of them will have 25% weightage. 25% weightage. Okay. And the current number of papers published by the scholar a criteria for getting selected for the program. Yes. Imagine if there are multiple third-year people applying, and if someone is very productive, there is a chance that selection committee might look into their application with more number of papers, might be considered as a plus point. That's possible. But Again, let me warn you, it is a notional criteria that depends on the evaluators, independent evaluations. Is there a period of travel? Can this travel be used to travel for late based on your collaborator's availability? Oh, I couldn't understand the statement, but yeah, as I said, you should initiate the travel within 10 months of the date from the date of the award, and minimum is 45 days and maximum is 3 months. If you plan to stay after 3 months, you should find money from your host or from your guide. Should the proposal to be tailored with experiments to be conducted with the partner lab? Answer is yes. What merit is needed for the approval of the grant? I think that's what I have discussed quite a lot, all the evaluation criteria. When does this program start? I've also mentioned this sometime end of November, early December. This is a very tricky question, guys. Whether our HTRA or PMRF stipend will be continued during the program. Let me first answer the PMRF. If you are a PMRF candidate, we will have to look into the PMRF funding conditions, which you have not done yet. So whatever the PMRF rule says, we will follow that. For HTRA, we will be giving you the HTRA grant. Doesn't matter. So this award is independent, and your HTRA will be provided to you. There will be no cut in HTRA, unlike other travel awards or joint degree programs you might have encountered at IIT Madras. Will this grant be applicable to any university selected by the scholar, or there is a specific list of universities? We don't have any list. You decide and make sure that university or the host lab or the host lab advisor has a good international standing. That's it. Can the fifth year student, PhD student, apply for the award? Yes, fifth year student can apply, provided you finish the travel and before the last date of PhD registration. That is mandatory. You cannot use the travel grant beyond your PhD registration. Currently, I am in my third semester. Also, chance of meeting my comprehensive is minimal before the application deadline. So, are there any possible chances for me to apply for this program? No, without comprehensive result, you're considered ineligible. So, you should be. You shall please consider to apply next time. So, I think this one is already answered. So, is this available for fifth year students? Answer is yes. So there's a question. I'm trying to communicate with the professors of host institutes. Still, it's uncertain about getting confirmation within the short period of time. How do I proceed? Yeah. So one thing we have understood is that although we have floated the proposal call like nearly like 20 days ago, we definitely feel the pressure from the student side that you couldn't really get the necessary approval, especially if you're trying to find a new faculty to host you. New lab, unless they are already existing partners, it's very easy to get a reply. So looks like there are a lot of requests. We may consider extending the deadline, but the deadline extension may not cross more than 2 weeks. Please remember, I think we will definitely not cross more than 2 weeks, depending on the number of requests. So we will let you know about the deadline in by early next week. But most probably, it's highly likely that you're going to extend. So don't panic, and it's going to be definitely not more than 2 weeks. So please remember that one as well. In any case, if we could not get a confirmation, we are going to open up the next proposal call in coming like in another 6 months' time. You can apply that. I'm planning to include one international conference along with this travel. So could you please extend the deadline? Yeah. You are expected to couple the travel conference also. When you travel, you know what it is, you don't really spend time there. You can, because you're going to use your conference travel grant also, that 1 lakh from the institute. So try to travel to a conference also. It doesn't harm. Is there any date of commencement mandated by IITM? No. All we ask is initiate the travel within 10 months from the date of award. Is it mandatory to search a host from the university where IITM has official MOU? No, you find the host of your requirement, because we know your requirement, so we don't want to dictate which institute you want to go to. You decide wherever you want to go. But let me stress again, it has to be a reputed university or institute or a faculty. One of these criteria should be there. Otherwise, the 25% of the rating will get affected quite a lot. Okay. With that, I would like to thank you so much, and I'll take questions.
Thank you so much, Professor. I think most of the question, even in the chat, were answered from the FAQ that you shared and in your presentation. But I'll read some of those questions from the chat, and I request you to answer those. So
Yes,
first
go ahead.
question is, yeah, can we collaborate with any economical lab? So it's similar to the question there. Can we collaborate with the economics lab from HSS department? And the sub question to it, can we apply twice in a year? If I didn't get through the first proposal, can we apply it twice?
Yes, the answer is you can apply. If you don't get the first travel award, you can apply for the second one for sure.
And is there a restriction to apply if PhD scholars have finished 5 years?
No, finished 5 years we cannot consider.
Okay, Professor. And September 30th deadline is too early. So can we extend?
Yeah, of course. I think, okay, looks like that's a kind of common request. So definitely, like I understand from the student's point of view, it's very difficult to do a lot of things. So yeah, definitely, possibly 2 weeks extension will be granted, but no more than 2 weeks for sure.
And there are 2 more questions regarding PMRF, which I'm skipping because you already covered it. And we'll let you know about the PMRF status in very soon. We'll be updating that in our website. And I have completed 5 years of PhD in July 2021, but I have already identified a faculty at DTU Denmark who is highly interested in collaborating with our research group at IIT Madras. Am I eligible for this award?
No, if you have completed 5 years, no, we cannot apply. You cannot apply. You're not eligible to apply.
Okay. Again, there is one more question with respect to PMRF, but I'm anyways reading it since it has sub questions also. Can PMRF students avail this opportunity and combine 3 lakhs plus 2 lakhs from PMRF to be there for a longer period in the host lab? That is one question. And the sub question to it.
Harish, let me answer this question first.
Yeah.
So essentially, you're trying to combine this travel grant plus the PMRF grant, right? So for anyone who, please apologize us, we have not looked into the entire PMRF regulations. So what we will do is we will look into the regulations and consult with the PMRF coordinator at IIT Madras, and we will let you know. We will answer all these questions via email soon.
If we have gotten approval from both IITM guides and the host lab advisor, can we be sure to get this awarded?
No, the proposal is competitive, and all the 4 criteria I have mentioned has to be met, and it has to be highly rated by the evaluators in order to get this grant. There is no guarantee. We will not promise that we will give you the award if you meet all the criteria. It is a very competitive business. Let me also stress you something. At the end of the day, I've said like this IIE travel grant is connected to the ranking. Means when you want to improve the ranking, you need to really have a very good outcome at the end of the day. You need to really show us a very good outcome. And so how you convince us is writing a very good proposal, finding a nice host lab, and you should also make sure that your PhD has a good problem statement. And of course, most of you, I think there is no problem with that, I guess. Most of the problem statements that our IIT Madras PhD students are working on are really good. So it's more about the complementary nature of it and how we're going to publish and what kind of good quality papers you're going to bring out. Everything matters. Everything matters. And all these things will be judged. And if your application is found really excellent, then the travel grant will be awarded.
Okay, Professor. Thank you, Professor. After how long can we? How long after the travel is the awarded? The grant is awarded.
No, say the tech.
I mean, so I can answer this, Professor. So we are giving this free, like as advance. So they thought. I mean, the question is, after how long since we finish the travel will the grant be given to them? So
the entire thing will be given upfront, guys. So unlike the other awards, it will be given upfront. The entire travel money, whatever we promised. But remember, also up to 3 lakhs. We have not said 3 lakhs for everyone. Also, please remember that. Depending on the rating, for top few people, it will be full. For the next few people, it will be different. For the next set of people, it will be different. We have used the word up to 3 lakhs per candidate. So the highly rated ones will be given a lot of money or almost everything. The next one, you are expected to find the host lab support and yes, your advisor support. And the one rated below, you'll have to find out. So each and every case will be worked out independently.
And again, there is a similar question. Can a student apply for this multiple times until he or she gets selected? Yes, you can apply until you get selected.
Yes,
Professor, there is a follow-up question also, like which some other student have asked already. If a student is already awarded, can they again apply for the second time?
Yeah, there is no restriction. You can apply. The thing is that it depends on the outcome from the first proposal. So the criteria for the second one is going to be very, very stringent. Unless there is a pitching requirement that you'll have to travel again, you'll not be able to get it. It's going to be extremely competitive. We will see the outcome in the first travel, and if the outcome is phenomenal, definitely like your second application will be considered favorably. So we are not going to restrict the number of times you apply, but the first application should have a phenomenal outcome in order for you to succeed in the second application.
Okay, so there is another question which asks that if already a host lab has already an MOU with IIT Madras, whether they'll provide the hostel fee or not. So I can take this question, Professor. So this is again depending upon university to university. If this university that you're interested in has a very active MOU with IIT Madras, we can always write to them and ask if they will give some kind of accommodation to the students. So it is not written in the MOU, but sometimes when we request, they might give us. So then the next question is, my PhD timeline ends in December 2021. Will it be possible for me to apply?
No. So essentially, if you cross 5 years, it's going to be very difficult. No. The thing is that if your registration is going to be kept alive, and if your advisor supports it, because we have said even the fifth year students can apply, it means that to end the fifth year is going to be really, the chances are going to be fairly little unless your PhD advisor says, yes, this travel is must, and then you're going to keep your PhD registration alive until the end of your travel, and then you have a chance. But it's highly unlikely that person who is going to nearly finish the PhD will get this award.
My host lab is a hospital, not a research lab. Can I apply?
Yes. So that's why we have said very clearly, like, we are not going to restrict where you are going to travel. So you may want to travel to, like, even if you want to travel to an R&D facility, we are okay with that. At the end of the day, all we want to see is that a phenomenal outcome in terms of paper or a patent or a startup, something of this sort. That's it. So we are not going to restrict you to any specific place. You're open to select, you and your advisor, please find the suitable place which can improve the quality of your research output. And
again, there is a repeated question. Can host lab be a university without MOU with IIT Madras? Yes, Professor has already answered. Yes, you can go to any lab.
Harish, you can skip those questions, Harish. If they are not really clear, you can skip those questions.
Yeah. When is the next call? Again, there's a question. I think you can skip this also.
Yeah, 6 months from the date of application, from the date of previous call.
Yeah. Okay. Before applying, do I have to consult with the host lab?
Of course, yes. So your host lab should provide a support letter for you. Support letter, maybe they just can host you or host you with some sort of partial financial assistance. Yes, definitely it's required. Your host lab should provide a support letter. Otherwise, your application will remain ineligible.
Okay. Will there be a support provided for visa clearance? Since there are bans in some countries, I can take this question, Professor. So yes, we are hoping that all the travel restrictions will be lifted by the time this award is given. And if there is a governmental policy that there is a travel ban, so even a letter from us will not help you get a visa. So please be careful with that. So you can, but we are very hopeful that by the time this award is granted, all the travel ban from Indians will be lifted. So can a candidate reapply in case I'm just skipping that? So do we have to apply only through IIE website or do we also have to submit the hard copy? No, you can only apply in the website directly. It's a complete automated process. We don't want you to travel physically and so that's the reason. I am in a 5th year. Shall I have, so this is also speaking. Next question. I am MS plus PhD student. My duration of degree is 6 years with the date of registration ending at December 2022. Am I eligible?
So what was the question? It's like MS plus PhD
MS PhD, so they have 6 years.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Oh, got it. I think this we have to think about it, Harish. I think, yeah, already if you're in the, like Chandan Bhatt's question, right? So he's already in 4.5 years. Yes, he's eligible to apply. Yes. But I think that one we need to consider, Harish. Actually, please make a note of that. Chandan, thanks for bringing this up. We have not thought of this. Typically the funding is only for 5 years, as far as I remember. If there is 6 years, we need to really think about it. We will consult and then we'll get back to you regarding that 6th year grant option. But as of now, you're eligible.
Yeah. Since anyways, the last date says December 2022, as per our rule, if the registration is still there by the time they finish their travel, they're eligible, Professor. So I think,
yes, exactly.
But there is also one more question we have received from a direct PhD student. So since they are direct PhD students, they time their coursework and their comprehensive repertoire takes a lot of time. So they're asking even for
No,
a direct
still I remember. I think let me also see if Anderson is there. Anderson, like it's only for 5 years, right? Even for MS PhD, the funding is like the registration is for 5 years.
No, registration is for 7 years. Funding is for 5 years.
Funding is for 5 years, yeah. So essentially,
Registration goes for 7 years, I think.
Okay, okay.
Then it gets automatically cancelled, and they have to renew it.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay.
If I remember correct.
Ah,
But
okay.
funding is for sure. It's for 5 years.
Okay,
Either
okay.
HTRA or CSCR or
Okay. Thanks, Anderson. So, Chandra, thanks for bringing this up. I'll consult with my team and also the Dean of Global Engagement, and I will get back to you with an answer for this, like more detailed and elaborate answer. And essentially, one thing I'm very sure of is that if you can keep your registration alive, you're eligible to apply before the end of 5 years. That is something I can confidently say for now.
We also had another question regarding management students applying. Like, can management students apply for it?
Anyone. They have no restrictions.
Is e-signature enough for all the DC members? So I will answer this question. Yes. So you can. There is a form that we have already circulated for DC members to discuss, and the chairman of DC member to just fill it. So please check the submission tab. You will find this form. So all that we are requesting is your chairman of DC member to just fill that form, which is a very it's a 2 minutes filling. And Amit Maheshwari, if PhD from DOMS working in information system can apply, yes, PhD students from DOMS can apply. So Professor, I think we have taken all the questions. So we can give another 1 more minute. If anyone have any question, please feel free to chat, or if you want to ask it, you can even raise your hand. We can unmute you and you can ask. We have another 5 more minutes.
There is one more question, Harish. My registration is alive till March 2022. So from Bharat Swaminathan, Bharat, yes, you're eligible to apply, but you cannot travel if your registration ends in 2022. You cannot use that money to travel after that March 2022. So please be aware, this travel grant cannot be used if your registration is not alive. But you can apply between the 2nd year and 5th year. There is no problem with it. But if you can keep your registration alive beyond 5 years, we have no issues like in letting you use the grant. I think Swarnab Dutta raised the hand. Swarnab, yeah, please.
Thank you.
Hi.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, this I'm talking from Swarnab Dutta's
yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Actually, I had a query. Like, if we want to apply from humanities department in an economics lab, so we don't have the typical lab facilities as in experimental labs. We usually work with our software in our computer. So, can we still apply for this? Because there are certain novel works that are taking place around the world that we want to associate ourselves with. So is that okay under IIE?
Yeah, definitely. Yes, you can apply. The way, as I've said, all you have to show us is that by traveling, you're going to gain a lot of things like that complementary nature, and you're going to improve the quality of your research outcome at the end of your PhD. That is all what we want. And we don't care if it's a simulation or if it's a kind of economics like analysis just sitting before computer, or if it's just going to be experimental. So let me again clarify, this travel grant is not meant only for experimentalists, it's for everyone who does PhD. So as long as you can find a complementary research expertise in someone's lab abroad, you're eligible to apply. We are not going to restrict anyone depending on their research discipline.
We have a question again from Graj Gupta, but before that, there is a couple of questions in the chat which I would like to address now. If we renew the registration, can we use the grant again, like a PhD student?
Yes, I think that part, Harish, we need to make it very clear. For example, if let's say if someone's registration is ending in March 2022 and they start the travel in January, and if the registration ends in March 2022 and they don't extend, we'll have to look into that case by case.
Okay.
We'll have to talk to the advisors and make a decision on that. Harish, please make a note of this question. We will discuss that with Ravi and also our committee members. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Is the scholarship from HostLab mandatory? So someone has asked.
It's better to have it, but it's not going to be the criteria for evaluation. But what we say, as I've said before, the highly rated candidates will get almost everything that they ask, like for the 3-month stay, whereas the medium rated ones will definitely have to take the conference travel for their flight tickets, and the ones rated at the bottom will definitely have to have a support from the host lab as well as wherever it is from their lab at IIT Madras. And so this is how it's going to work out. So there is going to be no like a single money cap for everyone who is going to qualify. The highly rated ones will be suitably rewarded, and the lower rated ones will be rewarded differently.
Okay, Professor. Thank you, Professor. So, Agraj, you would like to take your question now?
Yes, Agraj, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Professor. So I just want to ask that what sort of acceptance letter is needed from the host university?
You can ask your the host lab.
No. Yeah, sorry, you're on the host lab. No, I mean, it can be on the letterhead of that university or by mail or something.
Anything is all right, Agraj. There is no specific format. Harish, we are all right with that, right?
Yes, Professor, in any format. So even we have mentioned it. So I just request all of you guys to just go through the website once, because if you go through it, most of your questions will be answered. So we have mentioned about these things. So all of you just take few minutes out and go through the website. As Professor told, any format. All that we need to know is a host is interested in taking you. So, but we do not have a required format for that. So Anikesh, so you can just go ahead with the question.
Hi, Anikesh, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So you just mentioned that the host university should also be ready for some financial assistance. So if at all the host university is not ready for financial assistance, is that okay, or some assistance is compulsory?
No, as I pointed out before, if you are heavily rated ones, the host lab assistance may not be required at all. If you are a person who who is going to be rated in the intermediate or at the bottom, host lab assistance might be required for your stay, along with what we provide. And let me also make it very clear that at the moment, we don't have any restricted number for every top 10 candidates, and next 20 will get this, or next 50 will get this. No, because each one will have a different requirement. Each one of you will be traveling to a different country at a different time scale, and at a different time, and also will be traveling for different durations. So we don't know any of these things. So essentially, sometimes it's better if your host lab supports. That's something we always feel, but that's not going to be evaluation criteria. Imagine if a case arises where your host lab doesn't support, but if you're a person who are rated at the bottom and then you're awarded the IIA Travel Award, then either you may have to consider reducing the time of your duration to 45 days and not 3 months, so that you can use that money completely for your travel, so that you don't have to take it up from somewhere else. Or you should request your advisor to support you for the rest of the time.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Professor. So there are a couple of more questions in the chat which you need to take.
Yeah.
So I think it's a repeated question. Can we apply for many times? Yes, you can. But the next question is, can UGC JRF be available during this? So
that's from Amit Maheshwari. Yeah, I think Harish, along with the PMRF, let's also write this one down. I don't know, Amit. Thanks for bringing this up. At the moment, we don't know. I don't have an answer. But what I know is we will consult with the UGC JRF. Can you please send an email to Harish putting this question, and possibly there are some conditions attached to this JRF grant from UGC. If you can just send it across to Harish, we will read it thoroughly and then let you know the answer. I think we are going to be governed by UGC JRF funding norms.
So I have put my mail ID in the chat box, so please feel free to mail any questions that you have. So Professor, one more thing, which I can take. If you have not combined the travel grant, can we use it later? Yes, travel grant can be used only once by a student. So if you're not using travel grant for this travel, you can always use it for later travel. So if the advisor is not keen, but all the DC members are willing to support, how do we take it forward? Someone has asked me in a private chat.
No, I think advisor recommendation is must. I think we cannot take a person without advisor support. That is not possible. Advisor has to support the candidate.
Maybe you can email us with your details, Professor. If you want, we can. The student can mail the details to you.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Sir,
can you come?
Yes. There's a question from someone.
Yeah. One second. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, sir. I'm Chandan. So I just saw this ordinance of MS plus PhD.
Uh-huh.
So if you upgrade from MS, then you'll have a total 6 years of stipend that you'll be getting. So
Okay, okay.
yeah.
So
So the
Chandan,
date of
yeah.
registration also ends after 6 years, and you'll be getting financial assistance also up till 6 years.
Okay, okay. Thanks, Chandan, for bringing that up. I think probably we have missed that out. And
Yes.
I think, guys, if you have queries like of this sort, please do transfers, because this is the first time we are also doing. Actually, a lot of these things have to be incorporated in the subsequent rounds. Chandan, like the PMRF, UGC, JRF, this question also we will definitely get you with the answers very soon. Like we will consult internally, because this is a process. I cannot make a decision right away. I have to talk to my committee members as well as the Dean of Global Engagement before making a decision. So I'll talk to the entire team and then I'll get back.
Sure.
Would that be all right, Chandan? Yeah, great. Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor. So they are asking, can you update the OG website with all the unanswered questions? Yes, we will be also posting this recording, and for all the questions, we'll be putting a FAQ section to answer all these questions. Can you please give additional information about the travel grant? Yes, so every IIT student is eligible for alumni travel grant. That is for one time. So you can use that travel grant for one time to travel to for a purpose. But we are highly recommending you to just collaborate these two for this program. But however, if you're able to self-sustain for this without using the alumni travel grant, you can always use that for any other purposes. So you are eligible for that only once during your 5 years at IIT Madras. So I think, Professor, we have covered all the questions. So for most of the questions where we have answered, for a few questions which you couldn't, we'll update the FAQ and we'll be posting it in the website soon.
Great. Okay.
End of this week, we'll be trying to post all these questions. So I think if anyone of you have doubts, so I think we are already running out of time. So thank you so much, all of you. Professor, you have any final thoughts?
Yeah. So guys, at the end of the day, apply for this grant and be one of the persons who could travel abroad and eventually get a phenomenal research outcome for your PhD. And eventually, I think at the end of the day, we are doing this to improve the quality of the outcome of our PhD students, and which will in fact your career, and at the same time it benefits IIT Madras too. So please do if you think you're eligible and if you think you're one of the right candidates, please do apply with full with full cautious nature. Don't miss out any information that you're looking for. I've given also the insight on how you're going to evaluate. Keep all these things in mind when you frame your proposal. Okay. And with that, I wish you all success. And we will post, as Harish pointed out, all the facts in frequently asked questions in IIE website. And if you have further questions, you can write to outbound@ge.iitm.ac.in. Let me post it on more. Harish, can you?
Yeah, I can post it again. Professor, I have some final things to add to the.
Yeah. Yes. Sure.
So all of you. So most of you would have been familiar with the application procedure for now, but I would like to very quickly tell that all of you are required to register. So you will be getting a login credential. So once you register and you get a login credential, then you will be able to go to the website and you can edit that at your convenience. So it's not like an application form that you have to sit in one go and complete it. So you need not wait for it. I would suggest you all to, as soon as possible, go and create a registration and have your unique login ID password. So as and when you get all these required information, you can start uploading it. Alternatively, we have also given you all the application template in Word document. If you wish, if you're not very comfortable directly doing this application, you can also download those Word documents, fill everything in the Word document, and then copy paste directly into the application form also. So, but this is a complete automated process. So all of you are requested to only apply everything through online. Once this online application is over, you will be able to give a submit button. But this application can be only submitted once. You cannot do multiple submissions. So I would suggest you to see things carefully. You will not be able to edit it after you submit. As I told you, can edit it any number of time until you submit. But once you submit, you will not be able to edit it. So I would suggest you to look into it very carefully before you submit. And once you submit, you will be getting the responses and it will directly be given to the committee members. after the entire submission process is over, we'll update you with your successful applications, whether we have received it and all those things. So if you still have any doubts regarding the application process or the procedure to apply, you can mail to outbound@ge.iatm.ac.in. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone. So thank you so much, Professor Aravind, for making this presentation, because a lot of efforts have gone into making these slides and presentation. I think it was very clear, even from my office people who were seeing it, even people who didn't know about this program, it was very evident about the application procedure. So thank you so much for this. And I would like to also thank Professor Anbarasan for his time and efforts throughout this selection and evaluation criteria. So thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you. Thanks, Harish. Thanks, Anbarasan. Thanks, everyone. Have a good time.